Greetings and welcome to Weird Wizards Winter Wonderland! That's right, we are back with another 4W based building series! None of that survival business. Do you remember that time when I was surviving in the woods, when I was a wizard in the woods, and I had to totally build a bridge over the river? Do you remember that? Maybe that hasn't happened for you yet. I get confused sometimes, as the wizard that I am means that I will occupy various different time-space continuums at the same time. So if that hasn't happened for you yet, then I'll try not to spoil it for you, shall I? I think that's best. Anyway, whilst I call this Weird Wizards Winter Wonderland, I didn't actually create the land myself. I acquired it from an extra-dimensional location known as the Steam Workshop. And there you can find it under the custom terrain Frozen River by a presumed wizard or possibly even demigod named Regnilse. And a very fine land it is too. You will need the Voxels mod / enchantment for your world, because that brings in such wonders as snow and ice and other such things that are extremely useful if you want to build in a wintry and or wonderlandy manner. Speaking of building, let's go and pick a spot, shall we? So this is where I'm going to build my my Winter Wonderland. You can see the frozen river over there in the distance. I mean, it's not actually that distant, it's just down the hill a little bit. But this is kind of a fairly flat area to begin the production. What am I going to build? Well, I don't really know. I know what I'm going to start with though, and that, I mean, what Winter Wonderland would be complete without a giant snowman house to live in? I ask you, I can't think of anything more important, more Christmassy than a giant snowman house. So that's what we're going to build. Let's get started. Now, because this is going to be a snowman house, a lot of it is going to be built with voxels. Of course, I am using my full wizarding powers here. Creativity is the name of the game, not survival. And of course, you can't actually build with voxels, with terrain, in survival mode at the moment. Maybe one day, but not today. It is not this day. This day, we build with magic. So let's just fly over the area here where we're going to build. I mean, this is me in full magic mode. I don't usually watch myself fly. It has to be said. It does look kind of cool in a bizarre sort of way. Anyway, look, this is where we're going to do our building. We're going to flatten this area out. We'll probably take the top off of that rise a little bit. We'll add lots of snow down here. We'll fill in this little valley bit, and we'll create a nice large flat area to work with. And then we'll neaten it all up at some later point. Now, the quickest way of doing this is to use the magical leveling tool just to fill in this little valley. So we're going to stick with the voxel grid because it makes life a little bit easier at these sorts of scales. Whack the height up, whack the area up, and let's get started. Okay, well, in all honesty, That's a bit of a mess back there, but we will come back and we'll sort that out a little bit more later, I think. Once I've decided exactly how I'm going to handle it, and once we see how the actual body of the snowman looks sitting in place. So let's start with that. So we want a classic 2 or maybe 3 ball snowman, so like a baseball at the bottom, maybe like a kind of chest ball, and then a head ball. What I'd really love is to have 2 trees sticking out the sides for arms, but I actually don't know of any way of placing trees. I have no magic to do this. So we might have to make do with some kind of construction, possibly using beams or something like that. But we will cross that bridge when we come to it. First, we're going to build the body of the snowman, and this is going to be a case of kind of like feeling it out to see how big we can really make it, and what it's going to look like. So let's block that in now. Naturally, when building a snowman, you start with a ball. And our ball, which of course is going to be made of snow, needs to be as big as possible. There we go, 9.5 meters. We'll just plonk that down in the middle here. Should we actually move it a little bit closer to the edge? I'd like it to be visible. I'd like this snowman to look out across the land and for all to see him and fear his magnificence. Or at least look up and kind of go, that's cool. There we go, look, there is his belly, I guess, his bottom. He's going to be 3-tiered, so we now need to put a ball on top, a slightly smaller ball, of course, so let's reduce that down to 8. There we go. Just get it lined up so that it's more or less in line. It doesn't need to be perfect. That's looking quite good. It's perhaps not quite as big. Like, they look almost exactly the same size. I'd like the bottom to be slightly larger if possible. Maybe I need to get some snow pies for our snowman. But let's put the head on, because of course the head's the most important bit. The head where the eyes go, the iconic nose of the snowman, and all of that kind of stuff. He can look out over the land, strike terror into the hearts of all who look upon him. I mean, joy, seasonal joy and merriment into the hearts of all who look upon him. Right there, right in the middle. Pow! Is that good? Oh, that's alright. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. Although I definitely think that bottom tier needs to be a little bit bigger. He looks a little bit too athletic, if you ask me right now. He looks a little bit too kind of, you know, a little bit too sporty. We want a nice portly snowman right here. We want a snowman who is the personification of the spirit of the season and all that. Plus, I think his head needs to be a little bit bigger. Should we just make his head like just a shade bigger? Not a lot. Just a little bit bigger here. We need to sort of place this more or less over the top of the existing sphere. Right there. Ready? Right there. There we go. That's more like it. Look, it actually looks a little bit better when it's a little bit deformed and stuff anyway, because of course, snowmen are not perfectly round spheres. Well, I mean, some snowmen might be perfectly round spheres. But not on my watch, they're not. Let's just fatten him up by kind of like edging out a little bit in each direction. Look, we'll just come back towards us just a little bit. Plonk that down there. That's it. We'll go off to the right here. Plonk it down like that. Same to the left, like that. It's not going to be perfectly spherical. But again, I think this will probably actually help to make him look even more authentically, awesomely lifelike. There he is, look at that. That's actually pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that as far as the core 3 components of the snowman body in relative dimensional size terms goes. That's how we talk here in Weird Wizards Winter Wonderland. Wow. Actually, you know what? Now I kind of look at it from this perspective. It's suddenly I kind of have got a sense of the scale of this thing that I have created, and it's pretty big. It's definitely a substantial snowman, and no mistake. Possibly the finest snow-based creation that I have ever concocted. Greetings, snowman, or should I call you proto-snowman, or should I call you mega snowman, or do you have a name? Perhaps somebody out there in the grand wide metaverse has an even better name to suggest. But most importantly right now, I think you need a face, don't you? You clearly need a face so that you can look out over the land. So let's get started on that. I'm just going to pop a couple of these down at the base just so that we can kind of mark which way is going to be the front and where the entrance is going to be potentially. And then a face. What can we use for a face? I mean, a snowman, even a mega snowman, really needs something akin to a carrot for a nose. Do you think this will work? Can we rotate this around? It might be a little bit on the large side. Oh, you know what? We can't actually rotate it onto the horizontal. It can only point up vertically. What a shame! I mean, it could maybe make a good hat for him. What about a king statue? I mean, what could be finer than a king statue for a nose? We can't rotate this onto the horizontal either. I mean, I suppose that kind of makes a little bit of sense, but the medieval engineers gods, once again thwarting my insanity. What about something boring like a pillar? Can we put this in? I mean, it might be a little bit small. Should we try it anyway? Here you go. Try this, Mega Snowman. What? What? I don't think Mega Snow... It doesn't... He does not like it. The Mega Snowman clearly has rejected the pathetic little kind of pillar thing. The little pillar button nose. Look what's going on with that now. It's gone. He's just sucked it inside of him. And now it is just it's lost in snowy oblivion. And we will never hear of it again. That's obviously terrible. Let's get rid of it immediately. Right, well, Mr. Mega Snowman, clearly you are being difficult, as are the medieval engineers gods, but I shall not be thwarted, for I am Weird Wizard, and where there is a will, there is a way, and more importantly, where there is a voxel hand, there is a way, so I shall sculpt you a nose myself. Keep it small, minimum size, of course, so that we have maximum control. We're off the voxel grid, which is good. We're looking for a material which is kind of orange. Arid dirt? That might do the job. Oh dear. I appear to have horribly disfigured you, but it's alright. If we just like finish the nose, then I think we can use a little bit of snow just to kind of like cover this up and return you to your whiteness, your mighty whiteness. There we go. It's done. It's fantastic. Look at that. It's the best nose ever. Maybe a little bit on the small and pointy side, but I'm sure we can come back and we can fix it up if we need to. Alright, with a perfect nose like that in place, all we need to do now is give you some eyes and a mouth, and that's the head. Well, perhaps not done, but that's the core ingredients of a head, right? Now for the eyes, I'm actually going to dig into it because I'd quite like to be able to stand in the eye sockets and look out over the world. That took away quite a lot of snow. Hold on, let's try and be a little bit more judicious about it on this side. Okay. I think, if anything, I was less judicious. But that's okay. As a mighty wizard, I can just fill it back in with more snow. Edge the voxels in. We don't want to close it up too much. We're obviously working pretty close to the kind of voxel resolution of the terrain here, of the world itself. There is presumably some inherent sort of truth, some fundamental nature of the universe that I occupy here that I could learn about by experimenting with this. But right now, I'm too busy making a giant snowman. I think, actually, if I get something that generates some light, like perhaps a bucket, a fire bucket, there we go. Put both of those in the eye socket so that we can see a little bit more what we're doing, get a bit of contrast. Open these eyes up a bit. That's pretty good. I have to say, that's pretty good. I mean, again, they're not perfect, but they're not meant to be. Slightly bigger nose, there we go. Ah yes, that's more like it. Now you're starting to look like a proper terrifying giant snowman. I mean, jolly snowman. Now, for the mouth, I was thinking possibly either barrels sticking out or wheels. There's a few other things we could try as well, but I think they're all probably going to be too small. That's actually a little bit scary. It's a bit freaky, isn't it? Let's get rid of those. Maybe barrels will look a little bit less crazed because they're a little bit smaller. We can make a nice little smile here. Look, put that down right there. Maybe another one there, like that. That's actually maybe like just there, and like there. I'm pretty happy with that. I think our snow giant here is actually looking rather spiffing with his new smile and his great big orange nose and his empty eye sockets with flames inside. It's very Christmassy, I think you'll agree. Now we need to give him, of course, the iconic 3 buttons down the front. This I think I will use the wheels for. We just need to find somewhere where they're not like clipping horribly into his chest. He won't be happy about that. And if this guy gets unhappy, seriously, there could be like rampaging going on. He'll break himself up into his constituent balls and start rolling around the landscape, comically sort of sucking up people, and you'll just see a pair of boots sticking out as he gets rolled around and around in his snowy embrace. At least that's what I assume might happen. I'm not sure if I should put a button down here. I mean, anatomically, I'm not entirely sure what this bottom section actually represents on a snowman. Is it the legs? Is it the bottom? Is it the belly? Frankly, I'm not entirely certain. Is it somewhere even more dodgy? At some point, we're also going to need a way into this beastie, of course, because we do want to hollow it out. It is going to be a snowman house within which we shall dwell. So we need to decide where the entrance is going to be and what it looks like. Well, that is a question that we will have to find an answer for next time, because I have run out of time in my wizardly schedule right now building the snowman. I think we've done pretty well. I'm very happy with the exterior. Of course, we've still got all of the interior that we need to do, and of course we need to find a way of doing the arms. Trees would be awesome. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Until then, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I have been Weird Wizard, and I will see you later.
Readings from the Aurora show severe instability in the primary drive core. The central dark matter reactor will reach a supercritical state in T-minus 10.
10 seconds!
8,
do you think we'll be alright? Do you think I should take shelter? Should we just enjoy the show? Oh no, computer, is that you? Is the computer aboard the ship? Whoa!